Good afternoon and welcome to GrainTV. It's November 7th, 2012. I'm Logan Burgess. Joining me to my right here is Cody Bills. Well, Cody, first thing we're going to look at today was the outside markets. A lot of red there. The grain market held up respectively quite well, but on the heels of the last night's U.S. elections here, outside markets trading down quite sharply. What was pressuring things there? What's kind of coming down the line?
Well, I think there's a number of reasons why we traded lower here. I think it really was a global liquidation of equities. We saw really, once the election's behind us, we can focus on other things like the financial cliff, which will most likely just be in headlines for the next 7 weeks. We'll be able to talk about that plenty. Also, EU news came out. There's a bunch of EU news. Greek Parliament is going to be voting on austerity measures this Wednesday. It's very important that they pass these austerity measures to make sure they get their next round of bailouts. Problem is continued rioting, and there's a lot of videos on it. It's very dramatic over there right now. We also saw German industrial production came out lower than anticipated by a lot of economists. And the problem here is that Germany really has been isolated from the problems that are plaguing Europe. They've been the one shining star in a group that's really struggling. And the problem here is when they're starting to sputter and they can't hold up the rest of the EU, they have some serious problems. Also, the European Commission lowered their growth outlook for the EU, and it actually went from mostly stable or mostly unchanged in terms of GDP to now a contraction. So that's a problem. And those were all headlines that I think contributed to kind of this global sell-off in equities that we saw.
Yeah, certainly. Anytime anybody's talking about contractionary economic development, certainly not good for the demand scenario in grain. But as I said earlier, grains did hold up relatively well today. If we hop into fire tip, we saw December corn close the day up 3 cents here. Soybeans did back off a bit here, down 7.5 cents, and wheat really the strong point out of the grains in today's action. Chicago wheat up 15 3/4 at the close. Kansas City wheat trading up 10.5. We had a lot of concerns about production out of Australia this morning due to a drought there. It's been too wet in Argentina, like we've been talking about a little bit here, as it pertains to getting the soy and corn crops in the ground. But as far as wheat production, it is hampering things there as well. So I think that was putting a bid in the market there as well. If we take a look at concerns out of Europe about high protein wheat, we saw that carry into the Minneapolis exchange a little bit today, closing the day up 11 cents there. You know, Cody, if we take a look here at December wheat chart right now, this is a daily chart here. We've really been in a channel trade here recently since July or so. And with today's action, you know, we're now approaching kind of the high side of that range. From a technical aspect, are we kind of due for a breakout here, or do you think this thing's going to hold?
Well, I think based on what we've seen since July, this trend line up here has held. And so I guess I would take a look at that and say I'm not entirely sure that the fundamental news is strong enough to break through the $9 whole number support or resistance level to break through this trend line and the channel. I would say that most likely we'll see a little bit of selling as we get up around that $9, and it's unlikely we'll break it. However, that doesn't mean we won't break it. So pay very close attention to the price action here. If we close over $9 and it's a very positive trade, we have decent volume, and we close above it, there's a good chance we could be off to the races and up another leg higher.
Yeah, certainly. We'll have to keep an eye on that. In today's action, the high we printed was $8.97, so unable to hit that point today, but we'll keep you posted on that here in GrainTV in the days to come. One more thing today on the fundamental side of things, we did get ethanol production numbers out from the EIA. 827,000 barrels per day in production reported by them there. If we take a quick look here at the model that we've been following all throughout, throughout the marketing year here, the green line is the pace needed to meet USDA projections of corn going to ethanol production. And as you can see here from the most recent red bar, another strong showing here from the ethanol sector. One thing, though, that I think people need to keep in mind right now is that ethanol production, people know it's lagging due to very, very slim ethanol crush margins right now. And just today we had news out of Indiana that a major ethanol facility there has shut down due to economic conditions, which is essentially the crush margin that they face there. So I don't think any corn bowl is going to be real excited to hear that kind of news. We're going to have to keep an eye on it right now moving forward. Our current model is showing corn going to ethanol production, according to our model, 100 million bushels behind pace needed to meet those USDA expectations.
Would you expect the USDA at all to revise their ethanol production estimate in Friday's report, or do you think they'll stay around the same?
I think it's going to remain relatively unchanged in Friday's report. As you can see here from the model, we're very early in the marketing year right now. A lot of things could change. The bottom line is, though, we know ethanol production is going to be reduced year over year, but to what degree is the big question right now. And the big thing that's going to be driving that is the margin here moving forward. Lower corn prices, higher crude oil prices are going to be good for that margin. Who knows what's coming down the pipe, but that's going to be driving the bus in the weeks to come, and we'll keep you posted on that here on GrainTV.
Well, that sounds fair enough, guys. Also, make sure that you pay attention to tomorrow's report. We're going to have the export sales numbers, the estimates for corn, somewhere around 150 to 250,000 metric tons, beans around 600 to 800,000 metric tons.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. If we meet those, if we come in around there, I can't imagine the market's going to move too much. If we deviate, there's a good chance it'll surprise the market. We could pop a bit in the earlier part of the session. But thanks a lot for tuning in. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, or give us a call at 877-472-4607. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Have a good one.